Eastman Community Music School has been providing excellence in music education for generations. With us to talk about it today is the Associate Dean and Director of the Eastman Community Music School, Dr. Peter Kodzas. Thank you for joining us today, Peter. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you for the invitation, Eric. I'm really glad to be able to talk to you today.
Well, the year-round offerings at the Community Music School are just amazing. It's courses and lessons and ensembles. How do people get involved?
Well, we are one of the staples of music education here in town, and for about 100 years now, Rochester community knew that Eastman Community Music School, or in its previous names, it was Prep Department, etc., was the place where people are welcome to explore music and learn more about possibilities to grow as a musician, whether you're going to become a professional musician and choose that as your profession, or if this is something that you would like to do just as a hobby. So we've been trying to change and introduce new offerings to be current with times, and you can see that throughout our history we've been introducing new exciting programs, and we're continuing that path, and I think that's what's important, that we continue introducing new interesting ideas and that we understand what community is interested in and that we try to find the ways to meet their interests and needs.
I see. And so as a preparatory department, can students take classes toward a degree?
We would not call it a degree. It's something that we call a Diploma Program. And because we look into education as a complete process, not just being able to move your fingers fast or sing high notes, we really hope that students get engaged in ensembles and in taking academic classes. So it is a program that's sort of structured, and it can take anywhere between 2 or 6 years to be completed. And in that case, students who graduate or who complete that diploma program are usually have education of your average freshman in college.
I see.
So it's fairly demanding program, but also gives you an ability to approach music not just from one angle, but from many angles.
So they would be prepared then to matriculate as a student at Eastman, for instance.
That's one option, but also at the same time, they would be ready for lifelong enjoyment of music, because, when you go to a concert, sometimes people don't know what to listen, and classical music can often be overwhelming because there's so many different sounds, and there's long pieces that take a lot of concentration to focus and follow. This diploma program would help you enjoy every piece of music, whether it's country and folk or Wagner. I think you will be able to understand on a deeper level what music presents.
So is it all instruments? What instruments can we study at Eastman Community Music School?
All instruments and voice, jazz and classical, and we're opening to more popular genres as well.
Oh, and for young string players, is there any offering specifically for them?
Yes, actually the word yes is the short for Young Eastman Strings. It's a program that's designed specifically for students as young as 4 and 5 and up to about the 4th or 6th grade, where they are engaged in lessons, ensembles, and have an opportunity to work with each other, work with their faculty and so forth. So it is similar to what Suzuki philosophy was, but we went beyond the Suzuki method and included many other methods that our faculty are fond of and that they've been using for years.
I see. And do they learn about the theory behind music as well?
That is a part of that that's open and available for them. We have a program that's called Theory in Motion, which is, again, an academic class, but as the word suggests, it's in motion. We understand what needs are for a young population, and the theory is presented in a way that it's very active and involves singing, moving, and learning basic foundation of music theory in a fun and engaging way.
And in the summertime, is there a way for students to keep their skills up during the summertime?
Yes, summer is actually much more important than people sometimes think, because obviously there are no regularly scheduled classes. So students have a much more time to practice and dedicate their time to music and playing their instruments or singing. So we offer private lessons, but we also offer two specific programs for high school students, jazz and classical, and they are residential programs. They attract international students and have been going on for over 30 years. And we also have programs for middle school children, and this year we're bringing back our piano extravaganza camp for piano students. There's also an opportunity for local students to get engaged in a wind ensemble with our director Bill Tiberio. And as a part of that day, in the morning is wind ensemble, in the afternoon we're offering gamelan ensemble, which is Indonesian percussion group, which I believe it's very, very unique, and most people don't have any background, so it's a really great new skill, new type of music to be engaged in.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, there is a Pathways program, and I'm interested to read about that. Tell us a little more about Pathways.
Sure. All of you know that Eastman is a downtown school. We are part of University of Rochester, that's located right here in the heart of downtown. And for many years, since its beginning, Rochester City School District and Eastman had strong ties. 35 years ago, we established a program called Eastman Pathway Scholarship that helps and supports students from Rochester City School District to take lessons, ensembles, and classes free of charge through the scholarship, and that program is called Pathways. We usually support about 60 students, and lately we've been trying to go into the community and offer some programs that are not on campus, but traditionally it's about 60 students, and the graduation rate that we see from those students and the importance of music in their lives is just tremendous. We're really, really happy to see the results of our teaching and growth of those students.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned a lifelong pursuit of the enjoyment of music and the study of music. Is there anything for someone who might take up an instrument in their retirement years, for instance?
Sure, Eric. People like you and I with a little bit of gray hair, we have a special program that's called, again, New Horizons. All of these programs are very innovative. New Horizons was the very first program of its kind. And they just celebrated their 30th anniversary with a beautiful recital in Kodak Hall. So that program is open for anybody who's interested in starting instrument and is an adult student. So there are no lessons, but they actually get together and they work in the ensemble. So we have a very interesting group of people in those groups. Some of them played when they were middle school, high school students, and then didn't play for another 50 years. Some people never played, and they retire and they say, okay, I always wanted to learn how to play clarinet or whatever instrument, and they come and join the group. So it is one of those incredibly rewarding social connections that also has music as a binding element that puts us everybody together, and they create this new art form through their friendship and music.
It's just so exciting, and it's not anything that George Eastman would have recognized 100 years ago when he started everything here in Rochester, I would say.
That's, you're probably right about that. But, I always think of George, good old George, as a entrepreneur, number one, and then number two, big lover of music. So he knew that a music school cannot be successful unless we actually have people who are interested in. So I think this whole being current with times is a good entrepreneurial skill to have, and to understand what is the need. Who are the students that are interested in music, and how can we meet their needs. So I think it's the entrepreneur George Eastman that would be happy with what we're doing, but he probably wouldn't think of it in 1921 when we started.
I might not have known about a gamelan orchestra, for instance.
Absolutely.
Well, it's good to be able to celebrate 100 years of artistic service. Is that happening this year as well?
Yes, that is a celebration that's been going on for fall semester, continuing next semester in spring of 2022, and following fall. So we'll be celebrating the entire 2022, the centennial. There are many, many recitals throughout the year and the year and a half it will be. But one of the events that's sort of a special meaning for us in community music school is happening right around the actual openings of the door. And that's March 4th, 5th, and 6th, I believe, right in that window. When we're welcoming and inviting community to come and perform here, there are about 20 groups that we're hoping to host for performance. There are groups from community, there are wind ensembles, orchestras, and choirs. They'll be performing throughout the Eastman School on March 6th. And there'll be other events around that weekend. So I would invite everybody to explore our website, the Centennial website, for daily recitals that are happening, and then a huge number of commissions that each department, community musical had 4 new pieces that are composed and will be premiered just for this event. So it should be an invitation to anybody in the community to listen. I'm pretty sure between those 20 ensembles and probably 300-400 players that you will know someone. So even if you show up for that recital not knowing who's playing, I'm sure you'll recognize some of your neighbors or friends or colleagues.
So you mentioned a website, a Centennial website. What is that, in case people want to see more?
Oh, give me just 1 second. I want to make sure that my W's are correct.
Well,
so,
and the Community Music School is at esm.rochester.edu, and then you /community, I think, and then the Centennial.
That's right. And the actual email, the address for Centennial is rochester.edu/Eastman Centennial.
Eastman Centennial, fantastic, and that building is so phenomenal. I mean, just to see those fantastic structures, the Kodak Hall and Kilbourne Hall, very, very historic buildings right here in the heart of Rochester.
Yes, and if you go to the website, you'll see the timeline of what was happening throughout the century, and you get to see the beginning of the construction, etc. So it is actually amazing to see what was going on and how things changed over the past 100 years.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Now, will you have any alums coming back to help celebrate the occasion?
Yes, actually, the pieces that we commissioned are all by our alums. So I believe that all of them will be here joining us for the premieres.
Well, that's very exciting, and so it's just been delightful to speak with you about it today and about the full range of activities at the Eastman Community Music School, located in historic downtown Rochester, and very, very beautiful buildings that George Eastman might have recognized at the time, but he sure would be surprised at what goes on there now nowadays.
I think he would be glad that we expanded, and that we're not just a school as it was, but we're a school that grows with times and understands the community. So I think he will be happy with that.
My guest today has been Dr. Peter Kodzas. He's the Associate Dean and Director of the Eastman Community Music School here in Rochester, New York, celebrating a centennial of service to the community, artistic service to the community and the world here in 2021-2022. Thank you so much for being with us today, Peter. It's great to talk to you. In the Spotlight is a production of Penfield Television with sponsorship from Nokan & Associates, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Advisors. If you enjoy this program, please find us on Facebook, like and share the program, and find our full playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.